In 1988, Dragon Quest III changed the landscape of Japanese RPGs and turned into a franchise that is cultural cornerstone of Japanese gaming. It captured the hearts of millions with its charming characters, whimsical aesthetic, and iconic music. Now, over 35 years later, Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake seeks to rekindle that magic for a new generation of players and Dragon Quest veterans. This remake is more than just a visual overhaul, it's a faithful modernization of the beloved classic, blending nostalgia with accessibility while expanding its world, and the Erdrick Trilogy that takes place after Dragon Quest XI. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today we'll delve into how Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake is not only a love letter to Dragon Quest franchise, but also a gateway for newcomers, reintroducing the roots of this long franchise to a global audience. Through its visual reinvention and quality of life enhancements, this remake might bring a new golden age for the Dragon Quest series. The most striking difference between the Dragon Quest III HD-2D remake and the original is, without a doubt, its visual presentation. The original, released in 1988, was designed for the NES. With its charming yet limited pixel art, it was still well ahead of its time, presenting a massive open-world adventure with its iconic sprites and diverse environments that carried the essence of a trailblazing RPG. By contrast, the HD-2D remake reimagines this world with a modern, hybrid aesthetic, shaped by the gorgeous lighting effects and detailed environments in Octopath Traveler art design, elevating the experience into a new level of immersion, making it accessible and charming at the same time. 2D sprites with 3D environments, as it is also delivered in Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, it still presents a sense of depth and wonder, the feeling of an adventure still there to feel. The overworld now is shaped and crafted with varied terrain and elevation, improving the sense of exploration feel bigger than before. And this visual and art design ensures towns, dungeons, and even the monsters of Dragon Quest feel alive and memorable. The only decision point in the design that would disappoint the newcomers would be to maintain a first-person combat view, like how the developers give the choice of enabling quest markers. Dragon Quest III should have also implemented both the first-person combat and the third-person camera. Maybe a side-scrolling kind of a style that we have also seen in Octopath Traveler series before. You tend to get used to the first-person camera view and accept the original Dragon Quest feeling after a while, but it may also prevent people from delving deeper into the Dragon Quest instantly. As I mentioned back in my Octopath Traveler 2 review, this HD-2D art style is a perfect blend of pixel art and modern 3D rendering that can bring a new golden age not just to Dragon Quest series, but to Final Fantasy and maybe even to Chrono Trigger. It is a visual style that strikes a delicate balance between nostalgia and innovation, blending the old with the new, spreading a red carpet for both the veterans and the newcomers. As for the fans of the original, this remake offers a trip down memory lane. Familiar locations like Aliahan and Romeria have been painstakingly reimagined, and since Dragon Quest III is a prequel to the first Dragon Quest, we also get to see Tantagel and the world of Alefgard with enhancements to the map scale and visual density. That definitely makes us wonder how Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD-2D Remake would turn out to be next year. None of the maps feel too large or empty. There is always something to discover, maybe an attribute seed to improve your characters, a secret groove or an area to find recruitable monsters to battle with them in the arena. These vibrant towns, reimagined dungeons, and maps have greater depth and atmosphere, inviting players to explore every corner, every barrel, totally adding a new sense of wonder and discovery that also defined the original. When we take a closer look at the legacy of Dragon Quest III, its storytelling cannot be overstated. Unlike the previous Dragon Quest titles, Dragon Quest III introduced a non-linear structure, giving players the freedom to explore the vast world at their own pace, trailblazing future jrpgs. It features a journey of the silent protagonist embarking on a quest to defeat the archfiend Baramos, and this non-linear storytelling approach, combined with its global scope, inspired countless other titles like Final Fantasy by placing the player at the center of the narrative, allowing them to recruit a party, choose their own path, meaning that players had, and of course still have, the opportunity to tailor their own unique Dragon Quest journey. Being faithful to the original Dragon Quest III, one of the most touching additions in the 2D HD remake is the expanded narrative focus on Ortega, the protagonist's father. In the original game, Ortega's story was mere a footnote, element as a tragic tale of a hero who fell short of his mission, guiding the protagonist on his journey. However, the remake brings his journey to life through beautifully animated cutscenes and new story elements, as we can now experience Ortega's journey, his sacrifices, and his influence, creating a deeper emotional connection to the world of Dragon Quest III. Ortega's story was always meant to inspire the protagonist's journey. However, with the additions of the remake, his story is brought to light, adding an additional layer to the storytelling, making the players feel more connected to the Dragon Quest franchise and the story of Dragon Quest III. His journey, his tale, isn't ambiguous and left to imagination anymore. While the remake respects its roots, it also modernizes the experience to make it more accessible, though this accessibility can also make the overall challenge of Dragon Quest seem shallower or easier for the veterans. The remake features accessibility options such as hint or rather a quest marker system to ensure that newcomers can dive into the game and manage their journey without frustration, without any aimless wanderings for hours. Although this aimless wanderings trying to figure out where to go, discovering every corner and talking with every NPC is a vital aspect of Dragon Quest, especially in the old titles, the lack of guidance could have led to frustration for many, which is solved by this option to enable the quest marker if players wish to. On the other hand, Tavern to recruit party members has also been upgraded, offering diverse customization options for creating party members. You can select from different hair colors, multiple voice options, and a variety of personality traits that affect character growth, which is quite essential if you're aiming to finish the game. Each job the characters can have, whether it be warrior, martial artist, magician, priest, merchant, or a monster wrangler, these personality traits can be quite beneficial. However, if you are looking forward to having the most optimal personality for your team members, I would definitely recommend you to make your party members Vamp, which allows you to access balanced attributes when your character levels up. By doing so, you can make your priest durable by changing it to warrior or maybe martial artist after above level 20, and then your character wouldn't suffer from any low attribute points due to the wrong personality boon. All of these overhauled aspects, the ability to transfer skills between classes, customizing their appearances and their personalities, they all create a sense of ownership over the party. I'm not saying the original Dragon Quest titles lacked this aspect, but this feeling is definitely improved, made it more meaningful for the newcomers. Now, over 35 years later, Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake steps in as a modern reimagining that could also revitalize the old Dragon Quest titles while establishing a blueprint for the series' future. On the other hand, this remake also arrives at a crucial period, especially for the Japanese Dragon Quest fans, as they eagerly await the next mainline installment, Dragon Quest XII. This reimagining of Dragon Quest III served as a bridge, reconnecting longtime fans with their favorite series, while inviting newcomers to experience its roots, as these enhancements make the game feel more accessible while retaining the charm that has always defined the Dragon Quest series. Needless to say, perhaps the greatest achievement of the remake is its ability to serve as a gateway for the newcomers. You can start playing Dragon Quest XI and then move on to Dragon Quest III Remake and then wait for the 2025 launch of Dragon Quest I and II remakes. But why stop there, right? This remake's approach could easily extend to other entries in the franchise right after the development team is done with remakes of Dragon Quest I and II, and then move on to other timelines and sagas of Dragon Quest, maybe Dragon Quest IV Chapters of the Chosen or Dragon Quest V Handoff to Heavenly Bride. Although I played Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster and was quite satisfied with those experiences, this HD-2D remake concept's potential is limitless. They could add so much more narrative, cut content, gameplay mechanics, dungeons, or whatever they want to experiment with. However, I've been talking about all of the potential and the charm of this remake from different views. Needless to say, Dragon Quest III Remake also retains such mechanics that might make you quit this journey out of frustration. And you may wonder what these elements are, such as grinding, the lack of XP and money modifiers that Final Fantasy remasters have, RNG-dependent resurrection spells, the combat system of Dragon Quest that divides the enemies into groups. Although I'm totally fine with these elements, I'm sure many would quite frustrated with such mechanics. But let's dig deeper into these aspects before reaching a conclusion. One of the most celebrated updates for the newcomers is the inclusion of adjustable difficulty levels, meaning that you can choose between modes like Draki Quest, designed for a more casual, story-focused experience, or go for Draconian Quest, which is definitely for the hardcore JRPG fans. These difficulty options broaden the game's appeal without undermining its core identity. If you feel like you don't have enough of Dragon Quest III like I feel these days, you can increase the difficulty and go for post-game content, trying to come up with the best team possible. Dragon Quest III Remake has a weird approach to these two sides. On one side, it feels like the original DQ, but on the other, it's a modern recreation. The fast travel that lets you quickly travel across the world, the quest markers and the minimap for guidance help to navigate quickly, maybe leading to discovery of each and every corner, but also the reliance on grinding remains a core aspect of Dragon Quest III's gameplay. Whether it's leveling up, acquiring gold, or preparing for a boss fight, grinding is an inescapable part of this experience. Or at least you may find yourself hunting for metal slimes to make this process faster and easier. Meanwhile, the random encounter rate hasn't been adjusted for the remake. You will find yourself engaging in battles every few steps, particularly in late game dungeons or while navigating the expanded overworld. While of course some spells and items exist to temporarily reduce encounter rates, it still definitely feels like the old classic Dragon Quest experience that we all know. But again, I think I'm totally okay with Dragon Quest implementing its traditional sides as well. But it's best to keep in mind that these aspects are there again. And due to these improved aspects with the traditional feeling to it, Dragon Quest III Remake is faithful and modernized as much as it could be without losing its soul. It is the perfect formula that can be further improved and polished to lead the Dragon Quest franchise into a new golden era. As we reflect on Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, this reimagining clearly a passion project that was developed by a team that grew up with Dragon Quest. It is more than just a nostalgic homage, but clearly a new strategy of Square Enix to revive the classics. The future of the Dragon Quest franchise has never been this clear, if I were to say it directly. The blend of classic roots with modern design philosophies, this blend successfully bridges different generations of players, offering a timeless RPG adventure in a stunning new light. As for the newcomers, it's definitely a gateway into one of the gaming's most beloved series, and for the veterans, it is a true reimagining of the old Dragon Quest experience, enriched with fresh layers of narrative and gameplay refinement. It's definitely not hard to feel optimistic about what lies ahead for the series, Perhaps this isn't just a rebirth of Dragon Quest III, but the dawn of a golden age for the entire series. As always, thank you for watching today's video. If there is any other JRPG or Dragon Quest title would you like me to talk about next, be sure to share them by the comments below. Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated, and I will see you soon in my next video.